Hey guys, it's your boy. I'm back at you with, I get it, a different story. I know you guys are probably like, can you just finish a story for God's sakes? But, I promise I'll, over the next couple days, probably tomorrow, I will have another video out, which will be another part to the Naruto Village story. It'll probably be the final part. Just because there was only like really 3 arcs of that entire thing, so yeah, that'll probably be the end of that. Now, the actual title of this is Powerless, a Naruto story, a story that I wrote, probably a couple months ago. It's not like it's like on Wattpad or anything, it's just a story that I wrote just randomly because I like Naruto, because I'm a Naruto nerd. Anyways, but that's besides the point. The only reason I'm naming it What If Naruto Was a Girl is mostly because, you know, gotta get that clickbait. It's not actually clickbait. I mean, Naruto is actually a girl, but like, you gotta get the clicks, and more people will click on a video that's called Naruto, What If Naruto Was a Girl than Powerless, a Naruto story. It's just how it is. Anyways, hopefully we can get to 2K before May of next year. We are already halfway there. Good grief, I didn't think I'd be able to say that. We are already halfway to 2K, so let's make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and make sure to like the video, because liking also helps. And commenting, of course. I love your guys' comments. Besides that, I hope you guys are gonna have a great day, and let's get straight into it. Our story actually follows Menma, a dirty blonde-haired, tall man in his mid-20s with his hair tied back in a ponytail. He is missing a left arm and loves to tell war stories about it from the Second Great Ninja War, which he participated in as a genin. He almost seems like an old grandpa telling war stories, even though he's only in his mid-20s, probably, or heading towards his late 20s, around 25, 26. He is the brother of Minato Namikaze. Because he is his brother, they are both extremely powerful and have extremely large chakra reserves. Menma even more so because of his heritage. Their father actually had done the dirty with 2 women, meaning that they had 2 different mothers. Minato's was was just a random woman, not like a Namikaze or anything, just another woman who didn't have any prominent background. But Menma's mother was named Nana Uchiha. He had a Uchiha blood in his veins, although he never managed to awaken the Sharingan. He told everybody that knew, which was mostly Minato and later Kushina, that he didn't need the power of the Uchiha to be strong and to be on par with his brother. They were the 2 members of the Namikaze clan, and Menma, being an hour earlier, after learning from the 3rd Hokage of their exact date of birth, Menma flexed that, and Minato said that he could become the clan head, so that's what Menma did. Both of them would live on the Namikaze compound, and Menma would be the clan head, so he would be forced to attend boring council meetings, while Minato could do whatever the heck he wanted. Although Menma wasn't able to attend council meetings until he was a genin, because he had to be a shinobi since Namikaze was a shinobi clan. As a genin, he was very, very intelligent as Minato. In fact, people would say that they were the 2 best prodigies the village has ever seen, and they had actually passed in the same year, with both of them being actually nearly tied, with Minato only being a bit better, with Menma being a very, very, very close second. Besides that, Menma would eventually get told that Minato actually liked Kushina. Like, Minato would tell him that he had feelings for Kushina, and Menma would decide to get close to Kushina to try and help him out. Eventually, this would form a bond between Menma and Kushina that was unbreakable. A brother and sister platonic bond that, well, Kushina had wanted all her life. She had just wanted a friend, and instead of just getting a friend, she got a friend, a best friend, even a brother. And eventually he would be her actual brother-in-law, in the fact that he would actually get her her and Minato together. Yeah. His training was quite intense. In fact, he could open up to the 6th gate and possibly even the 7th gate because he actually trained with Might Dai's father, Might Sai. Might Sai is Sai. We don't actually know who Might Dai's father was. Might Guy's father was Might Dai, but we don't know who Might Dai's father was, because that would be, since Might Dai would be the age of Minato and Minato and Menma. So I'm just gonna call him Might Sai, and so yeah, he learned like basically all the gates. But he can basically most prominently go the 6th gate. He can't go the 7th gate, but that's really tiring and really strainful on his body. And it was basically the same for Might Dai at that point. Although Menma was able to hold the 7th gate for longer. Menma is actually efficient in all chakra natures, but lost his ability to do jutsus after he lost his left arm. He did become proficient in 2 others later. He was already proficient in fire, wind, and lightning, and he became proficient in water and earth even after he lost his arm by creating shadow clones to do jutsu, although he said it was much more convenient just to use his other techniques that didn't require hand signs, or only required 1 hand sign, such as the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which he had perfected to just sticking 2 fingers up, sort of like, Sasuke from Boruto, when he just friggin' flicked his 2 fingers up and 10 Shadow Clones appeared around him. He can do that, but instead of it just being the Shadow Clones, it's with a multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, meaning he can create up to 100, maybe 200 clones, which is something that Minato is even impressed at, saying that he beats him in the Shadow Clone department. But Minato and Menma are very, very much close rivals. They're not only literal brothers, but their bond is unbreakable, that they're practically best friends. Menma, as promised, never used his Sharingan. Sure, he unlocked it, but he's actually never used it. He never trained it, and so even if he does use it, it's only going to be in its one-to-moi state, so he says it's practically useless at this point. Just a small boost of power that doesn't even matter. But besides that, he would also be really, really good with a short katana that is similar to Sasuke's sword, which is called the Sword of Kusanagi, but it's not exactly the Sword of Kusanagi, although it is very, very similar. He also trained with Jiraiya, just like Minato, so he can also do perfected Sage mode, just like Minato could. He also learned the Flying Raijin and Rasengan besides Minato. After all, they're both similar prodigies, and they're really close, so they would know practically similar jutsus. After all, it's not like Menma went on a different path than his brother, they actually kind of went down the same path. He actually would teach Kakashi the better version of the Chidori, which is the Raikiri, since the Chidori is a ball of lightning that requires hand signs, while the Raikiri doesn't require hand signs. You could it's just lightning coating your hand, which can cut through a lightning bolt. So Kakashi would actually know this around the time that he would accidentally kill Rin. Rin would die, and the Obito thing would happen as normal, with both of them unlocking their Mankai Gekyo, and he would actually be comforting Minato and Kushina after both Obito's supposed death and Rin's actual death. He would also comfort Kakashi, so Kakashi wouldn't be as depressed, but he would still be a little depressed. He would actually be training under Menma, Kakashi would, and he would perfect his abilities with the Chidori/Raikiri, and just get a lot of training in the lightning chakra nature, since, well, Menma was basically not friggin' Sarutobi level, like not Hiruzen level, with because like that's like God of Shinobi level, that's over First Hokage level, but he was probably one of the most efficient in lightning chakra natures, possibly even more potent than the 4th Raikage himself. I'd say somewhere a little bit less than the 3rd Raikage, but he couldn't use like the lightning cloak or anything, but he was just extremely fast, since he could do what Sasuke does in Boruto and just coat himself, or coat like his chakra like he can lace himself in lightning chakra. Although it's not a lightning cloak, it still gives him a really good amp and speed. Basically, yeah, he is as fast, if not a little bit faster than the 4th Hokage, which is insanely fast already. And he would actually help Minato perfect the Rasengan a lot earlier, meaning that they could work on perfecting other jutsus as well, and eventually they would perfect a type of Rasengan known as the Great Fireball Rasengan, and they would teach this to Jiraiya, who would first have to learn the Rasengan, but it was much easier since Jiraiya now became the student and had two really good teachers. Like, they were literally the two cultivators of this jutsu. They would teach Jiraiya the Great Fireball Jutsu, and then Menma would actually say to Jiraiya that if he actually wants to stay and get trained even more by them, he's going to have to perfect a Sage Mode because that is going to be a valuable asset in battle. Jiraiya says he doesn't want to, but Menma would then say, "You're going to. You're my master, and if you die, I don't know what I'll do. You're a good friend to me, almost like a father. The father that I never had. I'm not letting you die for some stupid, silly reason." Then I guess it's settled. You already have that made up in your mind. I never had a chance to begin with. Nope, you didn't. Thanks for noticing. Now come on, let's go back to Mount Miyaboku. Minato would stay behind with Kushina, obviously being husband and wife now. They want to spend time together as much as they can since Minato is also the fourth Hokage. And Menma would go and train Jiraiya. But because he went to go train Jiraiya, he would sense danger too late. He would run as fast as he could back to the village. He knew something was wrong. And when he got on top of the Hokage's stone faces, all he could see was his village. Mostly destroyed. In fact, nearly 95% of it was nothing but rubble. He would be shocked, horrified. He would try and sense for chakra signatures. So many dead. The only ones around him were a couple of Anbu members who were tending to other Anbu members who were dying. But he then sensed it. A giant chakra, and he would look to his right. The nine-tailed fox was there, rampaging. He would use his flying Raijin to teleport through the trees, through the village, and eventually to where the nine-tailed fox was, where he would then see it turn into pure chakra and float down. He would be surprised by this. Now, who could have sealed it? There was only one person. No, only two people who could seal it, and he would rush forward. Please don't be either of them. Please don't be either of them. Please be some random Jonin. Please be some random Jonin. But his worst fears would be realized. Memo would look at horror as his brother would be sealed by the Shinigami. A hole through he and his wife's chests. He would run over to his brother only able to get a single sentence out while holding his hand. Minato, Menma, listen. It was Madara who did this. Tell them it was Madara. Minato. No. Minato, wake up. No, please. Minato, please. You would then hear a faint breathing coming from Kushina. Kushina, thank God. Thank God you're alive. He would say, running over to her. But then he would see and remember that when when a tailed beast is ripped out of a Jinchuriki, they die. It's what happened with Kushina's mother. I could save you. I promise, he would say. He didn't know much about medical ninjutsu, but he was using a basic medical ninjutsu to try and heal her. But Kushina knew it was too late. She smiled at Menma, and Menma would feel tears welled up in his eyes. No, don't you look at me like that. Don't you look at me like that. I'm gonna save you. You're my little sister. I'm going to save you. You know, you always were a great big brother. Don't say that. Don't say that. You're gonna be okay. Menma would look up. Please, take care of Naruto for me. Ah, frick, I said Naruto. Sorry. Take care of Saruta for me. Yeah, I'm gonna change Naruto's name to Saruta. So, yeah, just, from now on, it's gonna be Saruta. Take care of Saruta. For me and Minato, won't you? You can take care of her yourself, you idiot. Just hold on, I can save you. Promise me. Menma would already feel the tears rolling down his eyes. Multiple tears would collapse onto Kushina and the ground. He was crying. For the first time in his life, he was actually crying. He had seen his teammates die, his senseis die. His Jonin leader had died, so he had seen that die. He had his arm ripped off. He had seen it and been through so much pain. He knew Obito and Rin. They were like students to him as much as they were to Minato, and even they didn't faze him. But the thought of losing Kushina and Minato on the same day, it broke him. This man, who is said to be so hardened and battle-hardened, even though he was so cheerful, he was like Jiraiya. Only, it seemed that he was much less emotionless when it came to death. His shell, his shield, was destroyed that day. Please, take care of Saruta. Raise her, train her, make sure she finds a good man. I will. I promise you. I will. Looks like you're not as hardened as I thought. Not as hardened as everybody thought. Please don't make this any harder. He would say, lifting her up and cradling her in his arm. Menma, I want you to know something. I'm so glad that you were my friend. And although I did love you, it wasn't a platonic way, but I did love you. I loved you as much as Minato. I promise you that. I'm so sad that I have to leave you with this burden. But promise me. Promise me that you will take care of her. I know you already said yes, but I want to hear it one more time. He would regain his composure. Of course. Kushina. Thank you. Menma. You know, even before I got married to your brother, you were always my brother. Her hands would fall to the ground as one last breath would leave her lips. He would then put Kushina's dead body on the ground and go over to the crying baby. He would pick it up. It was so small, so fragile, yet its face was one of the most beautiful things that Menma had ever seen. I won't let anyone hurt you. I will raise you. And as long as you promise not to leave me, I will never leave you. Soon Anbu and the third Hokage would arrive, and they would all just be silent. As Menma got up and walked past them, he'd stopped crying, but his eyes were bleeding, and everybody looked into his eyes, and those Anbu then found out that day that not only was he a Namikaze, but also Uchiha. As everybody would see his eyes morph from a 1 tomoe to a 2 tomoe to a 3 tomoe before spinning around and become a unique pattern, the Mankai Gekyo Sharingan. He would walk past the third Hokage saying, When's the next council meeting?
It shall be in a couple of days after this. Well, maybe longer. After all, we don't know if we're actually going to do it. It might be not until we rebuild the village. Well, I'm gonna stay in the village. I'll help rebuild it. And after that council meeting, I might leave again. And if I do, I'm taking her with me. She's my daughter. And I will not have you say otherwise. I wouldn't. Even if she is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. You can take her out of the village if you would like. I will not stop you, and no one else will.
Thank you,
Lord Third.
Lord Third would nod as he would try, or as Menma would use the flying Raijin to try and teleport back to the apartment, but he would just be standing in the wake of a destroyed building. All that work they put into your baby room, all destroyed. Looks like it's gonna be a while, possibly even a couple of years before we get to rebuild the village. Until then, let's try our best.
Saruta.
He would say, smiling at the small child, as the small child would be fast asleep in his arms. And now, we're actually going to skip 2 years later, and straight to the council meeting. The council meeting would go as follows. Donzo would propose a small, little suggestion that the Uchiha clan, the ones who were said to be the perpetrators, be moved to a compound off to the side of the village. Fugaku would be enraged at this, but the other clan heads would listen to Donzo's reasoning. And then a hand would pop up. After Donzo was done speaking, a hand would pop up. A gloved hand. White glove, a man dressed in a camo attire, with his dirty blonde hair tied back. He had a more distinct face now. Although it already was distinct before, he looked a lot more serious. He was still joyful, and was still a cheery man. But when it came to these council meetings, he took them a lot more seriously now. He knows what his brother would have wanted. I, as representative of the Namikaze clan, would like to speak on the Uchiha clan's behalf. Fugaku would be surprised at this, but inside he would be smiling, and secretly saying thank you. He had never really known Memba, and had only known the fourth Hokage as mutual allies. Little acquaintances, I guess you could say. They weren't exactly friends, but they could have been. Fugaku would sit down, and so would Donzo. Menba would walk up to the front of the room and say, I am Menma Namikaze. And here's what I have to say. On the night of the Nine-Tails attack, it is fact that the Nine-Tails was being controlled by a Sharingan. We all know this is all fact. Another fact is that the Nine-Tails destroyed 95% of the village. Another fact is that my brother and his wife sacrificed their lives to save this village. But there's a fact that you don't know. A fact that only I know myself. It is fact since it came from my brother's mouth itself. Although no one else was there to hear it. Only me, Kushina, and Saruta. Two of which are dead. Well, one of which are dead, and two of which are either here right now speaking before you, and I. The other one's a 2-year-old child, and was literally a baby at the time. So hear what I have to say, as if I was speaking from the fourth Hokage himself, from my brother's lips themselves. My brother said to me that he believed the man that was attacking the village was Madara Uchiha. The entire room fell silent, deadly silent. Everyone in the room froze in utter fear Minato was not one to just say that people would just say that someone's Madara Uchiha without really good reasoning. So you're saying that he really thought that? Hiruzen would ask. Yes. I do not know a reason why my brother would lie to me on his deathbed. In fact, I know he wouldn't. He's not the time to pull pranks like that. Understand, council members of both the civilian and the shinobi councils, that Madara Uchiha was a Uchiha. Yes. This is a known fact. After all, he was able to go toe-to-toe with Hashirama Senju, the so-called god of shinobi. Even the name Madara, even if this man is not Madara, the name itself is enough to strike fear in the hearts of all shinobi, as I could plainly see with this entire room. Even you, Hiruzen Sarutobi, are afraid of the name Madara. Who wouldn't? He was so powerful that, as I said before, he went toe-to-toe with the first Hokage. In fact, he almost stalemated, just barely losing. At least, that's what I can gather from the history books. He was powerful, and he was known to control the Nine Tails with his Sharingan. So even if this man is not Madara, let's assume he's someone else, a Uchiha. If he affiliates with Madara, that means he is a traitor to the village, and a traitor to his clan. After all, Madara was exactly that. Therefore, if Madara is a deserter, then that person is a deserter, both meaning that why should the Uchiha clan be punished for someone who's not even technically a part of their clan? Shinobi Council, Civilian Council, I beg you to listen to me. The Uchiha are our most valuable assets. Alongside the Hyuga, they are the two most prominent clans in our village. The Uzumaki and Senju are all but nearly dead. Same with the Namikaze. We're not that much of a clan anyways. It truly is the Uchiha and the Hyuga left to be our last lines of incredible defense. Their dojutsus are unrivaled, unmatched. And although I know you have pride in your clan, and I don't want to offend you by saying this, but as I said, they are the two most valuable assets. To make the Uchiha clan forcibly live outside the village would cause unrest between the village and them. More unrest than there already is. Because right now we're mending that unrest. The Uchiha have helped more than ever. Heck, they're one of the major factors in helping this village be rebuilt. Even now, there are Uchiha still working when other shinobi are just saying, it's whatever. Rest of the village can be built itself. But the Uchiha shinobi are still helping. The Uchiha that aren't shinobi are helping building the village. Is there anybody else from any other clan that can say that their members are still doing that? That their civilians are helping? I didn't think so. Not only that, but the Uchiha clan, they could be so exponentially helpful in taking down this guy who claims to be Madara. I can guarantee you, it's more than likely he's not Madara, but on the off chance that he is, then we're gonna want the Uchiha clan, not to ostracize them. Hell, we should make them our front line. Because I fear that this Madara, this guy who claims himself to be Madara, he wants the Nine Tails. I have no idea what for, but he wanted it. That means he has a plan. If that plan involves the Nine Tails, then it involves my daughter. And by God, I'll be damned if I let a decision be made that will put my daughter's life in jeopardy. I will not rest easy knowing that only the Hyuga clan will help protect my daughter. I have to know that the Uchiha clan will also be helping. To ostracize them would be throwing away allies. Throwing away allies when faced by a threat like Madara Uchiha would be foolish. So I beg of you, all of you, disregard Danzo's words. Disregard his false warnings. And help me. Help me to kill that freak who murdered my brother and our 4th Hokage. The entire room would stand up and start clapping. A slight roar would appear, would be heard, before eventually everybody would speak a standing ovation with everybody yelling. Well, not the Shinobi Council, but rather the Civilian Council would be this way. They loved the 4th Hokage. He was a man of the people, and they believe in Menma's ideals. And the only one who doesn't agree with Menma on the Shinobi Council is Danzo himself. The elders and all of the Shinobi Council all believe in Menma. After all, he's one of the most respectable shinobi out there, not just because he was the brother of the 4th Hokage, but he had trained many shinobi, and he was a really powerful one at that, said to basically be a rival, if not above the 4th Hokage. After all, the 4th Hokage did know a bunch of jutsu, but he didn't know how to open the inner gates. It just made his brother even more of a competent shinobi. And now we're going to time skip to when Sarita is 6 years old, and she will be dropped off at the academy before her father will walk away. But before he can body flicker away, she would turn around and say, "Papa." Huh? Oh, what is it? What is it, baby girl? Well, I want to do good today, okay? Can you wish me luck? Of course, I already did. Well, could you perhaps... Oh, that's what you want. You should have just said it. He would bend down and rub her head, frolicking through, rubbing his fingers through her hair like she always liked. It was a weird sort of thing that she liked, but he had weird things that he liked too, so he wouldn't blame her. After all, being scratched on the head, I guess, would feel good to someone like her. After all, but she only liked it from him. When everybody else tried to touch her, actually, she would get a little fidgety. But she was okay with a couple of people holding her, such as Kakashi, but he didn't visit much. He more watched from afar. And even though Menma and even Saruto at times would notice him, although mostly he was sneaky about it, sometimes he would stand out in just broad daylight and be watching, and Saruto would notice him, but only for a split second before he would go away. He would then say, "Now, remember what I said." "Right. Get in there and show them what I can do. And if they try to mess with me, I kick their ass." "Atta girl. Now go knock 'em dead." "Well, not literally. Please, hold back. That you're much more powerful than them, I can assure you." "Alright, Papa, but I'll still knock 'em to the floor." "That's my girl," he would say before turning around and body flickering away. He would be walking along before eventually he would come into contact with a group of people who were talking on the bridge. These people would be Kakashi, Might Guy, Kurenai, Asuma, Anko, and, of course, not of course, but also Ebisu, and I think maybe, also Genma. Or, like, you know the guy that's like one of the third Hokage's guards? Yeah, Genma. He would start walking along, and eventually, as I said, he would come across them. And this would lead into this scene. Frolicking around. That's not like you, Kakashi, Menma would say. Oh, Menma-sensei, Kakashi would say, whipping around. Everybody he was automatically a sight to see. Minma was. He always stole the spotlight whenever he was in a room. A missing arm would do that, but his bright smile, his demeanor, except when he was in the council room, then he would steal it with his impressive speeches. He was always impressive, but now he just got even more impressive over the years. But he was definitely a beacon wherever he went that wasn't the council room. His bright smile, even though he was missing an arm and missing his family. He had gone through so much, lost so much, yet he was still a beacon of hope. That was what was truly impressive about him. No matter what, he always smiled. The only time he didn't smile, or rather, the only time he wouldn't, was when killing the man who took Minato and Kushina away from him. That is the only time he would stop smiling. He'd walk up to the group and say, "Well, how are you guys doing? I hope your training is going good. And I just recently heard, Guy, haven't you become a Jonin?"
Yes, I have. That is exactly correct, Menma-sensei.
Oh, please, you don't have to call me that. Just call me Menma. I didn't even teach you. I just trained alongside your father, and that's it.
But you are so amazing. Your power of youth is more powerful than even mine.
Don't downplay yourself, Guy. You're pretty powerful with the gates, too.
Yes, but you know how to unlock all the way until the 7th gate, possibly even the 8th, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I know, but don't downplay yourself either. You can go up to the 6th gate. Well, at least last I knew.
Yes, I'm working up to a good amount of 7th gate. After all, I can go it, but not for very long.
Well, you keep working at it. I'm sure you'll get good at it eventually. Maybe you should think of taking up a student soon. After all, the academy students are flooding in. There could be someone that you might want to train.
Actually, I'm already training someone.
Really? Who is it?
His name is Rock Lee. He is like me, no chakra specialties. But I can definitely tell you he's got the power of youth inside of him, and he's training himself to his maximum limit.
Sounds like the perfect student for you, huh? So how are things going with Sarita? Kurenai would ask, leaning up against Asuma. They're fine. She's great, but I'm just worried. She's powerful. She's definitely powerful, both physically and she has great agility. She'll probably end up breaking one of the Genin's arms, or maybe a rib or two. I just hope that doesn't happen for another couple of months. Maybe I can have a couple of months of peace. Knowing her, she'll probably come back today and say that she beat up an entire group of kids. Then I'll get a bunch of complaining letters from families, or maybe a couple of angry parents at my doorstep. Wow, I guess kids really do suck, Genma would say. No, she doesn't. She's a blessing. Blessing that, well, I wouldn't ask for anything else. But I love her, and she loves me. And I've raised her as if I was her father, but I don't really know when to bring up Minato or Kushina. The third Hokage said it wouldn't be wise until she was at least a Genin. And I think I'm going to wait until then. But besides that, how are the rest of you? I know you became a Hokage guard, Genma. But Ebisu, what have you been doing? Actually, do you know that the Hokage's son just had a son? What? Really? Yes, and I'm assigned to be his personal bodyguard. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Good for you, Ebisu. And what about you, Anko? You've been relatively quiet. I don't see why I have to speak. Oh,
Right, I just remembered. I'm sorry about Orochimaru. Nah, it's okay. It was his own wish to leave, she would say, rubbing the back of her neck, and Minma would notice this. She would pull her hand away, and Minma would obviously see the curse mark. But he would keep it to himself, deciding to ask her about it later. He cared about all of them as if they were his students. And he genuinely did care about them all. Genma, Ebisu, and Guy were all, were all close to him. He wasn't as close to Asuma or Kurenai, but Kakashi was probably the one he was closest with. Anko was like Asuma and Kurenai. He wasn't the closest with her, but he was actually a little closer than with Asuma and Kurenai, probably somewhere around Genma and Ebisu's level, because he was much closer to Guy than the two of them, but he was still close to the two of them. He cared about them all very genuinely and very deeply, and he would do anything to protect them, such as if they were all just different versions of Saruta. But he knew that he couldn't protect them all forever, and he was pretty confident in their skills. One of them was a Sarutobi, the other a Genjutsu specialist, the other he had trained with his own two hands, the other being able to open gates, one a Hokage guard, one the bodyguard of the Hokage's grandson, and last but not least, someone who had been trained by Orochimaru. He was confident in all of them. Really confident. He just smiled and turned around to walk away, but Kakashi would then pipe up. Sensei, are you okay? I know raising her alone is kind of hard. I never have raised a child before, but I can only assume it is. I've been through worse. After all, I got this ripped off, he would say, trying to lift up his left arm, but obviously he couldn't. There was nothing there to lift up. Looking down at the sagging left sleeve. Right. But still, I know that Minato and Kushina are even more important to you than they were to me. I don't know, I want to make sure you're okay. Kakashi, you should be worried about your own mental health rather than others. Get that in check before you start coming after mine, he would say, walking up and touching Kakashi on the shoulder. I can tell that you're sad. Depressed, even. Come on, you have Guy, for God's sakes. Let him cheer you up. Yes, that is right! Kakashi, let us fight! That'll surely show you the power of youth and will cheer you up. Actually, Guy, I think it'd be better if you and him, or rather, how about we all go? Yes, my treat. Let's go to barbecue. I haven't had that in a while. Everybody would perk up. Asuma would perk up, and Mirai would just say, "Oh boy, you said it. You said the forbidden word." Yeah. Well, if you're treating, then sure as hell count me in, Asuma would say. Anko would then say, "Yep, count me in too, chief," before walking along with Asuma and Kurenai. Genma and Ebisu would actually walk up and say, "Thank you for the offer, but I gotta go." Both of them would say that before both body flickering away, one going to protect going to guard the Hokage, one going to guard the Hokage's grandson. Guy and Kakashi would then walk off and have their normal banter, as Mema would watch them all walk off. Well, I guess I'm going to lunch with them. Wasn't really planning it, but it's whatever. Minato, you sure raised one hell of a student. I hope you're doing good up there, you and Kushina. Say hi to Mom for me. And your mom. And, punch Dad in the gut, slap him across the face, stomp his brains in, send him to hell. Any of them will do. Most likely the last one. Hate that guy. Anyways, I hope you're doing good, and I hope I'm raising Sarutobi the way you wanted me to. And don't worry, if she's ever in danger, I might just be able to see you early. He would say, walking off to go join the others for a nice meal of barbecue.
Hey guys, it's your boy, and thank you so much for watching this. I know this isn't probably not as long as my normal parts. I haven't actually counted up the minutes, but it's probably maybe around an hour, maybe a little less. But nevertheless, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out It's AG, Izukage, got Red Demon to the Leaf, Josh Love Anime, and of course Kira Gem. Besides that, road to 2,000 subscribers. Let's get 2K subs before May 2020. And besides that, leave comments and whatever, and expect part 3 and the finale, which will also be the finale of What If Naruto Made It His Own Village tomorrow. With that out of the way, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.